Can you believe it's been almost 27 years since you pulled off that move in 96?
Oh, every time, right? I lost count of the years, I guess, but yeah, every time it comes around, the phone blows up, and yeah, here we go again. And two in one night? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it was nuts.
You guested on my podcast a couple years ago, now defunct, called Unmuzzled. We went through the sort of genesis of the move. Can you peel back the curtain, Mike asked, for the move, how it came about to be in 96?
Yeah, I was. It all started. I guess I was having this semi-pro skate, I guess, in back in London, Ontario, where I grew up, and there was one individual there. I knew his name, Billy Armstrong. He was with the New Jersey Devils organization, so everybody at our age was kind of keeping an eye on him, and we're pretty shy to go up and talk to him. I think it was maybe 50, 16, something like that, and he's flying around, just a natural warm up, doing loops, taking shots on the goalie. And I remember I took my shot and looked down, and he was at the other end, and he picks up this puck on a stick, and he just had it up on his stick. I'm like, oh, how did that happen? And of course, I'm not going to be like, hey, how did you do that? How did you do that? What's going on? Like, fill me in, quick, teach me. And I'm like, no, I just kind of put it in the back of my head, was like, holy smokes, like, how could you use that in a game? Like, how can you do that in a game? And so it kind of started from there, and figuring out like I guess the olden days where you would do the wraparounds down low, and Dougie Gilmore from behind the net spin around and going the opposite way and slam dunking it in down low. Well, you always see the goalies like cover the bottom of the net, cover the bottom of the net, and stop the wraparound, and you see the gaping hole up top. Yeah, I just kind of put it together, and how are we going to get it up there?
So, Mike, I mean, I remember when you did that, it was everywhere, all over every form of media that there existed back then. Why do you think it took, 23 years for someone to execute that in the NHL afterwards?
Yeah, I don't. I've had this question before, and I really don't know. I think the time span, and I could maybe think of maybe that time in the game where that's embarrassing to the other team. So if anybody was doing that, here you go, bench clearing brawl, you're getting your teeth knocked out, there's a bounty on your head, and I might have gone that way, but yeah, I don't know. I had, like I said before, like I had my life threatened many times after that. You try that in a game, gonna break your arms and throw you in the fourth row. Just everything. Yeah, I'll find you where you live. Like, oh, okay. So yeah, I think that had maybe something to do with it. And yeah, the acceptance of it. Maybe some coaches are like telling their players like, no way, you're not doing that. There must be somebody else open, and sometimes there is.
Yeah. Do you have
Hard to
a
argue with you pulling it off, though, in the tournament, no less.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was kind of leading up to it. I told myself in the playoffs, and you were down 2-1, and you're getting outplayed, and I told myself, like, get it out of your head. Going into playoffs, do not even think about this. It's not even a chance you're going to even try this. And it just kind of presented itself. I was in a familiar position back behind there, and I just went for it.
Do you have a favorite rendition of the goal?
Oh man, this is there's so many new ones out there. I know how I picked it up was, using the force of the puck, and instead of now everybody's like scooping it and running with it. There's there's been so many ones. I think the Hoglander one off the back of the net and picking it up as a D-man spinning around, that one. Svechnikov's one in the first one in the NHL, I guess. That would be kind of like a landmark there. And then, yeah, they're all pretty impressive. And the ones that are skating full speed behind the net, pretty impressive. The last two were just unbelievable.
So Mike, do you see like you just mentioned, like you're not pressing it down anymore? I mean, when you flip that up, the butt end of your stick is darn near on the ice. You gotta use that stick to flip it up, starting with your backhand up to the rafters and do it that way. Now they're just doing it in stride by, waiting till that puck isn't flat on the ice anymore, lifting it up. If that trend continues, like you said, we saw 2 in one night, say guys are trying it in a shootout, or say it's not open and they carry it into the corner like that, or say they flip it over to a buddy the way the guys can do these days. Like, do you see it becoming a problem if it becomes easier and easier for these guys to get the puck up on their stick like that, and they have the balls to try it as well?
Yeah, I think the renditions of it. I was practicing in college. I'm waiting for this one. Like as it evolves, I remember trying it in practice. Like, how else could you use this? Like, where else could you use it? And super risky, of course. Probably even more so out in the open area where you can get your head taken off. But hopefully we'll maybe see it sometime soon. I was way back when I was using it as trying to get guys to do it as a breakout, like a defenseman from behind their own net, pick it up and throw it like a touchdown pass, and somebody could grab it, glove it, throw it down at the far blue line as a stretch pass or something. Or the one that I pulled off, it was pretty funny, with Marty Turco shooting pucks in my head after that, was a 2-on-1. As you're going in, I'm a righty going in on my offside. As a 2-on-1, the defenseman's you're gonna hold for the pass back door. So if you could hold the D man there, and then as a righty coming in on the left side, so instead of shooting from that spot or making that play, you pick it up and spin around and throw it from the outside if the goalie's playing out a little bit, and throw it behind you as you spin and throw it in. And it worked on Turco, and that's when the pucks came flying over my head.
Wow.
I can only imagine. It's funny.
It was all good.
Yeah, you can always imagine what the goaltender's feeling. I know the other day it's a bit of comedy that it happens to Jordan Binnington, probably the biggest snap show in the NHL right now, and sort of his response on social media after the game, sort of talking about defending the play. I, for one, don't have an issue with it. I think the goal of the game of hockey is to score a goal, but I think you're so right. It's something I brought up earlier on. I just think players are different these days, where there's no accountability. Like, you can do what you want. There's no policing anymore. And I think it was more of a fear thing back in your day. That's why nobody tried it. Now guys have all the skill in the world. They're going to do it because there's no repercussions coming. I got to ask you, Mike, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always put out there. It's the Michigan goal. It's the Michigan goal. I'm always, I always think it's important to bring up the originator of this goal, the Mike Legg goal. Are you a bit sour it's called the Michigan goal?
I haven't been sour about it yet. Besides the petition I have going around to change it, there's nothing wrong with it. No. There are some people around that are like, every time it happens and somebody calls it the Michigan goal, it's the Mike Legg or the Legger, or yeah, they kind of come up with something else. But I'm okay. I'm all right.
I don't get the
It's all
lacrosse
good.
thing though. Like, what's the lacrosse thing? Everybody calls it the lacrosse goal, right?
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was when I first did it. Everybody asked, "Oh, did you play lacrosse?" And I was like, "Oh, in gym class for a semester or something like that." Like, yeah, it's a great sport. I loved it, right? And I think it was in lacrosse you could from behind the net jump around as long as you're not in the crease and tuck it in. So I think that's where it came from. So yeah, everybody lacrosse goal. We're on ice.
I'm not a big fan of that name. I like. We'll try to get there changed up to the Mike Legg now and drop the Michigan there for you.
Yeah.
Can you still do it, Mike?
Okay, sure. Yes, yeah. I get quite a lot of opportunities coaching at a junior A tier 2 here in Maple Ridge for the Flames, and then a U18A1 team, and then my boys team, a U13 team. So coaching, I'm on the ice lot, so I bury on those U13 goalies as much as I can.
Feels good.
Yeah.
How often is it brought up when you practice, or like when you take on a new batch of kids? It's like, hey, that's the legendary Mike Legg, man. Because I still, and again, maybe it's speaking our age a bit, but I remember this goal like it was yesterday. It was pulled off, and it was like pre-2000, so like the internet wasn't really a thing. And it's like, now, imagine that happened now, how big that would be. you know?
Yeah, it's amazing, and you know when they show the actual original footage, I was like, oh man, it's so grainy. Like, am I that old? Are you kidding me? But yeah, you take on a new team or kids and stuff like that, and they always bring it up. But they're all doing it now too. They got different versions of it and pulling it off. And see another one. Somebody sent me one on the internet. It was, I think he looked like he was probably was 7 years old. He picked it up and he skated with it the whole length of the ice and then tucked it around the goalie or something. I was like, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.